Once upon a time, there was a lazy but very clever man who did not like to work at all. His wife worked hard every day, doing everything she could to keep them going. She often scolded him for being so lazy and said, "Aren't you ashamed to sit around doing nothing while I work so hard to earn our food?" One day, tired of being scolded, he decided to leave home and travel the world to find his fortune. He promised himself that he would not come back until he had earned enough money to live happily forever. As he began his journey to seek his fortune, he noticed that his shoes were in a bad shape and needed fixing. So he went to a cobbler's shop. After the cobbler repaired his shoes, he asked for his payment. The man said, "I'll tell the sweet shop owner over there to give you the money. You can collect it from him." The cobbler said, "I don't think he will pay me. I don't even know him." The man told the cobbler to come along with him to the sweet shop. But before the cobbler could get up, the man quickly went to the sweet shop, bought some sweets, and told the confectioner, "I'll ask the cobbler to pay you the money." When the cobbler arrived at the shop, the clever man asked the confectioner, "You need to pay, right?" Thinking the man was talking about the money he owed for the sweets, the confectioner said, "Oh yes, I need to pay." Hearing this, the cobbler assumed the confectioner was agreeing to pay him and nodded. Before anyone could figure out his trick, the man quickly slipped away, leaving the cobbler and the confectioner to sort things out themselves. He kept walking until he came to a stone fountain where a group of washermen was busy cleaning clothes. The man sat down on a green meadow near where the washermen's children were playing. He opened the sweets and started eating them in a way that made the children's mouths water. Unable to resist, the children ran to their parents, begging for sweets. The parents, busy with their washing and unable to refuse their children, asked the man if he could share some sweets and promised to pay him. The clever man replied, "I'm just a poor traveler. I got the sweets from another place where they are being given out for free. How can I sell them to you? If you want some, you should hurry there before they run out." The washerman, excited by the idea of getting free sweets, said to him, "Dear sir, if that's the case, we're ready to go. But could you do us a favor and watch over our clothes while we're away?" "All right then," said the man, "but don't leave the clothes spread out on a meadow. Please sort the expensive clothes into one bundle and the regular ones into another, then place them in front of me. And remember, I can't wait forever. If you don't come back soon, I'm afraid I'll have to leave your clothes here." The washerman happily agreed to his conditions. They quickly packed the clothes into two bundles and ran to the place the man had mentioned. As soon as they were out of sight, the man grabbed the two bundles and quickly ran away, leaving the meadow behind. When he was far enough away, the man opened the bundles and hung the clothes on every branch of a large tree nearby. He then waited patiently. A trader walked by and saw the unusual sight. The man was watering the base of the tree and happily whistling. Curious, the trader stopped and asked the man why he was doing such a strange thing. The clever man, acting busy, ignored him and told him to keep walking. The more he was ignored, the more curious the trader became. Finally, the clever man said, as if sharing a big secret, "There's no need to ask, it's obvious. This is a clothes-bearing tree, and I've been waiting for years for it to start producing clothes. Now it's finally starting to bear them." The greedy trader, always looking for ways to make more money, wanted to buy the tree. He said, "Well, if you want to sell the tree, I'm willing to buy it from you. I'll pay any price for it." The man first pretended to think about it, but then agreed to sell the tree for a price, on the condition that he would take some of the clothes that had ripened on the tree. The trader, eager not to lose the deal, agreed to the condition. Without wasting any time, the man took only the expensive clothes and the money. He then quickly left, leaving the trader behind, standing by the tree and watering it, while only a few clothes remained hanging. The man continued his journey and soon came across a man with a tame bear. With a little of his remaining money, he bought the bear. He tied the animal to a tree, shoved some coins into its backside, and scattered more coins around the bear. Then he made the bear walk around the tree. The poor bear, uncomfortable and desperate to relieve itself, kept walking, and the coins would fall out, making a tinkling sound as they hit the ground. Soon, another trader came by and was amazed to see the bear dropping coins. He thought to himself, "If I own this bear, I'll always have a steady supply of money and live happily forever." Excited by the idea, he offered a large amount of money to buy the bear. The clever man pretended to be unwilling to sell such a valuable animal, saying, "Who would be foolish enough to sell a money-making bear like this?" But after much persuasion from the trader, the man finally agreed to the very high offer. As part of the deal, he was allowed to keep the coins that had already fallen. With the beer sold, the man gathered all his clothes and the money and continued on his way to a nearby town. When he reached the town, the man dressed himself in the beautiful clothes he had taken from the washerman. With his fancy clothes and money, he quickly made friends with the rich people in town, even earning the king's favor. He introduced himself to the king as Kakaju, meaning respected uncle. The king loved to gamble and would invite his courtiers to play a game of 16 cowries every day. Because the clever man now looked important, he too was invited to join the game. Back in the village, the cobbler and the confectioner, after arguing for a long time, finally realized that they had been tricked by the man. They decided to go after him. On their way, they found the washerman looking upset. When they asked what had happened, the washerman told their story about how the man had tricked them and taken their clothes. Hearing this, the cobbler and the confectioner quickly realized that the man who had cheated the washerman was the same one who had tricked them. They all decided to join forces to find him and punish him for his deceit. As they continued their search, they arrived at the spot where the first trader was still walking around the tree, watering it with the few clothes still hanging on the branches. On the branches, the washermen spotted some of their own clothes. They immediately demanded that the trader explain how he had come to possess them. Surprised by the accusation, the trader nervously said he was waiting for the tree to grow more clothes and then told them how he had come to own the tree. The cobbler, the confectioner, and the washerman, now convinced that the same man had tricked them all, shared their own stories of being deceived. Realizing they had all been swindled by same fraudster, they decided to work together to catch him. As they continued, the group came across the second trader who was still making the bear walk around the tree. They were all curious and asked, "Why are you making the poor bear go round and round the tree?" The trader explained that a man had sold him the beer, claiming it had a special money-making gift, which he had witnessed himself, but he had not been able to make any profit from it. The others all replied at once, telling him that he had been tricked by the same man. They shared their stories of being deceived and explained why they had come together to search for him. The second trader, now realizing he had too been swindled, decided to join them, and the entire group continued their search for the fraudster. The group finally arrived in the town where the crafty man had been a few days earlier. After searching, they spotted a familiar figure gambling with the king and the courtiers in the palace courtyard. At first, the group was not sure if it was the same man, as he appeared to be a completely different person, looking much changed. However, the washerman noticed his clothes and quickly realized they were the very same ones they had washed many times before. The washermen, recognizing the clothes, were certain that the man sitting with the king was the same one who had tricked them. As they were about to confront him, the other members of the search party warned that they should be absolutely sure it was the same man before acting. They cautioned that if he was a close relative of the king, their hasty actions could lead to serious problems. They did not want to jump from one problem into an even worse situation. So, despite being almost certain that he was the man who had tricked them, none of them dared to approach him. The clever man noticed the group watching him but he pretended not to see them at all. He continued playing the game, acting as if he was completely indifferent to their presence. His calm and composed behavior only made the search party more confused. They began to doubt themselves, wondering if perhaps he was someone else entirely. At that moment, the king turned to the man and said, "Well, Kakaju, should I begin the game by throwing the cowries?" When the search party heard the king addressing him as Kakaju, or respected uncle, they realized that someone so closely connected to the king could not possibly be the man who had cheated them. They concluded that they must have been mistaken and decided to leave, continuing their search elsewhere. Once the search party was out of sight, the crafty man said goodbye to the king, having won even more money from the game. Feeling proud of his success, he happily set off on his journey back home. When the clever man arrived home, he handed all the money to his wife, who exclaimed, "Where and how on earth did you manage to gather such a huge fortune?" The man replied with a smile, "Foolish woman, is it not enough that we now have a great fortune? Don't worry about how or where I got it. Just enjoy the wealth." His wife, feeling it was inappropriate to ask further, was overwhelmed with joy at their newfound wealth and fell into a trance of happiness.